This will be my video lecture in legal aspects, no, in the tourism and hospitality industry, no. So before I proceed, I'd like to remind you about the previous assignments that I have given already. So later on, I will be mentioning, or I will be giving to you your assignment number 4, no. I will be giving you your assignment number 4. I suppose that you have already finished the first 3 assignments which I have assigned before, no? So we continue with our lesson on the legal forms of business organization, no? The legal forms of business organization, no? This is the first thing, no? If you will become a business owner someday dealing with say for instance relating to the hospitality or tourism industry, say for instance tourism, okay, when we talk about this, we talk about hotels, no, restaurants, spas, etc. No? Here for the tourism industry as a tour operator, perhaps a travel agency, or that one involved in transportation business, transpo, no, and others, no. So if you will be engaging in business relating to the hospitality and tourism industry, of course the first thing that comes to your mind, or the first thing that you will be deciding on, will be relating to the kind or the form of business organization that you will establish or put up. And last time we talked about the 3 most common business organizations, no? Business organizations. The 3 most common forms of business organizations are, number 1, the sole proprietorship. Remember the spelling, sole proprietorship. Second would be the partnership. This is just a review, by the way, no? And the third will be the corporation. Now, in choosing any of this, no, when you put up your business relating to the tourism or hospitality industry, the first thing that you will be doing is to choose which one is the appropriate form of your business organization. Will it be the sole proprietorship? Will it be the partnership? Will it be the corporation? Of course, your assignment has something to do with which one of the 3 most common forms of business organization are you going to choose. Okay, let me help you, no, as to the factors that you have to consider, no? Factors in considering the form of business organization, yung business organization that you will put up, no? So there are factors to consider, no? Factors in considering the form of business organization, factors in considering the factors in considering the business of organization that an owner will put up, no, will establish or will put up. So these are the factors, no, factors in considering the form of service that an owner will establish or put up, no. So these are the factors. I will be mentioning some of them before choosing the appropriate business organization for your entity. You have to consider this, no. Of course, the first one is the vision of the owner, no, or what we call the owner's vision, no. When we talk of the vision, of course, we are talking about the future, no. So where would you like your business to be in the future, no? Will it be still small, medium, or large, no? And of course, these are the factors that you consider. Would you like it to be just small, or medium, or large? Now, is this the vision that you would like to take? No, if you intend to put up a large organization, of course, a sole proprietorship may not be the appropriate business organization. No, so you always think about your vision of the future. No? Second, that you have to consider as a factor also in putting up your business organization will be the desired level of control. No? This is the second, the desired level of control. Meaning, would you like your business that it will only be you who will manage? Is it you alone? You alone will manage the business? Or you want others also that is it you alone who would like to manage your business, or you also want others to join you or help you? Want others to join you in managing the business, no? You want others to join you in managing the business. So level of control will also be a factor, no, in choosing the form of business organization. Now, if you want that it will only be you who will be managing the business, of course, the appropriate business organization will be the sole proprietorship. But if you want others to join you in managing the business, of course, the partnership or the corporation may be the appropriate business organization. No? So this is also a factor. This is second factor. The third factor that you will consider is the acceptable liability exposure. No, this is the third factor. The acceptable liability, this is the third. So this is the third factor. The acceptable what? Liability exposure. The acceptable liability exposure. So what do we mean by this? No, acceptable liability exposure. Well, of course, in putting up your business, you come into contact with, of course, certain contracts, no? And these contracts will give rise to obligations and rights, no? Obligations or rights, no? So the liability that I'm talking about would be here, your obligations, no? Now, do you want that it is only you who will shoulder all the obligations, or you want others also to share the burden, no? You want your liability that you will carry or pay it all alone by yourself, or you want others to help you? You want others to help you defray the liabilities or obligations that you incur in the course of managing your business. Would you like your obligations to be paid only by yourself, or you want others that your obligations will also be shouldered by other people, no? So that is also a factor, the acceptable liability exposure. Okay, the fourth would of course be tax implications, no? Because you will now be engaging in business, this is also a factor, no? In tax implications. Tax, because you cannot do away with taxes, no? Remember that taxes are the lifeblood of the government. Lifeblood of the government. You cannot do away with the payment of taxes, no? Especially if you are already working, especially if you already have your business, of course you need to pay your taxes. Now, if you engage in business, of course there are implications to that, no? Would you like that the taxes that you will pay would only be with respect to your income or revenues, no? And we call that the income tax. Or would you like that your business be paying business taxes as well as income tax? No? So these are two different things, no? So what do you want? Would you like that your business will be paying only income tax, or a larger business entity which will be paying both business taxes and income tax? Well, it depends again on your decision to put up a business organization, no? If you want this, if you want only to pay income tax, then you go to sole proprietorship. Okay? But if you want this, of course, it may be a larger organization which will be a corporation. Clear? So far, so there are implications. You also need to consider the tax implications of the form of business organization that you will be putting up. Of course, taxes, you cannot do away with taxes. You have to pay taxes because that one will be also used by the government to fund its operations. Okay? Now, the fifth consideration would be the sharing profits. No? Would you like others to share in the profits, or you want the profits to be by your own self only, alone? No? If that is the case, then what you will put up will be the sole proprietorship. But if you would like to share the profits to others, of course, this is not the appropriate business organization. It may be a partnership or a corporation. No? Remember that here, in sole proprietorship, you are alone. You are the manager, you are the owner, you are the employee of your business. But here, there are other people who will be joining you in managing your business. Now, also, another consideration in choosing the form of business organization that you would like to put up will be on the aspect of financing, no? Financing needs. No? Financing needs, no? Of course, when we talk of financing, what are we talking about? Well, the intervention of financial intermediaries like banks, no? Financial intermediaries like banks. Why do you have to consider financing needs? Well, of course, as your business will grow, no? Supposing that you put up a very small business, now you have to expand to a bigger business. Of course, to fund this bigger business, it needs additional cash or capital, no? So where do you go to? Well, here, you go to the financial intermediaries like banks, like, say, for instance, lending institutions, etc. Okay, so you also need to consider your financing needs. No? As your business grows, no, from a small business entity to a larger or medium size business, of course you will be needing cash. And how do you finance that? Of course, in various ways. No? You may go to the bank for a loan, or you may go to a lending institution for a loan, or you may sell property, etc., etc. Okay, so financing needs will also be a factor. And of course, the last consideration or the last factor that you need to consider would be, the sixth one would be the need for cash. No? As I told you earlier, this is very similar to the financing needs that I talked about in number 6. The need for cash. Now, if you put up a small business, you have grown to a medium-sized business and to a larger business. Here is small, medium, a large company or a large business entity. The more it grows, no, definitely you need cash. And where are you going to go to? Of course, if you are originally a sole proprietorship, you want other people to join you, then you form the partnership. Now, If you need other more people or investors, you want your partnership or your sole proprietorship to grow more to a corporation, of course, you put up a corporation. Okay, so these are the 7 factors. I'm not saying that these are just the factors that you need to consider, no? There are other factors that you might also consider, like for instance, the location of the business is also a factor, no? Of course, human resources, no? Human resources in the area where you intend to put up your business. Are there enough people with the desired skills or expertise to help you out in managing your business? What else? Of course, the competitors. Your competitors in the area will also be a factor, no, in putting up the desired business, etc. So the ones that I mentioned, the 7, are not exclusive. No, there are other factors like location, human resources, competitors, even your suppliers. No, suppliers of raw materials. No. Okay, so far so good. Now, last time I mentioned to you that before putting up the form of business organization, you need to consider everything. You have to scan the environment. Scan the environment. Why do you need to scan the environment? What do you think is the reason why you need to scan the environment? Well, of course, to answer whether your business can sustain, no, its operations in the long run, no? And it can only sustain its operations. What is the determining factor in sustaining a business? Of course, to meet a need, no? So this is the basic, no? Why do you have to put up your business? Because you see a need in that area or in that place where you intend to put up your business. And this is the reason why, if you can ascertain that there is already a need for putting up that business, then that is the time wherein you have to prepare what we call a feasibility study, no? FS, the feasibility study. Do not start your own business without undertaking a feasibility study. Now, of course, by way of a background, I'd like you to get a sample, no? Or I'd like you to familiarize yourself what a feasibility study is, no? So you get a sample of FS, no? So that you can familiarize yourself. Why is there a need for you to put up, or why is there a need for you to, say for instance, prepare first a feasibility study before putting up your business? Now, by way of a review, when we talk of sole proprietorship, now I'm talking of the 3 most common forms of business organization. When we talk of the sole proprietorship, of course, this is the business organization that is easiest to form. It is the cheapest. It is the oldest form. But the problem here, although it is very easy, it is very cheap, it is the oldest of all the business organizations that you can put up. The problem here for sole proprietorship is that your liability is limitless. No? Liability is limitless. Meaning, why is this? Why is your liability in sole proprietorship limitless? What do you think is the reason why you could be held liable even your personal properties? No? Why is that? Why is liability limitless in sole proprietorship? Well, because there is no distinction. No, there is no distinction. There is no distinction between what? Between what? The owner of the business and the business itself. No, they are one and the same. So here, because the owner and the business are one and the same, of course, your creditors can run after your personal properties. If you incur obligations, then your creditor can go against your personal property. So that is one of the disadvantages of a sole proprietorship. Now, in the case of partnership, how did we define partnership again? Well, by the contract of partnership, two or more persons bind themselves to contribute. What do they contribute in the case of partnership? What do they contribute in partnership? They contribute what we call the MPI. They contribute money, property, or industry. Now, the industry that we're talking about here will be your skills, no, or capabilities. No? That is what we are talking about for the industry. So you contribute money, property, or industry to a common fund. No, there is a common fund with the intention of dividing the profits among themselves. So here, in the case of partnership, it is really profit motivated. No, very clear, with the intention of dividing the profits among themselves. But of course, any business, the purpose or objective is of course to gain or generate profit. Now, what do you think is one disadvantage of a partnership? Well, in partnership, there is that principle which we call dilectus personae. No, there is this principle, dilectus personae. No? What does this mean? That a person can choose, no? That a person can choose the kind of partners that he would like to join or to be part of the business. He can choose the kind of person which he wants as his partner. No? So dilectus personae would mean the principle in partnership that one can choose the kind of person which he wants to be a partner. Why is that? Well, because in the case of partnership, the basis of this will be trust and confidence. No? Remember that each and every partner should have trust and confidence to each other. No? And in the case of partnership, there is what we call general partnership. So there are two kinds. No, we call them the general partnership, and then the other is what we call limited partnership. A limited partnership. Now, what is the difference between the two? Well, here, in the case of a general partnership, each and every partner has the right or the privilege to manage. No? Each partner can manage or supervise the business. In the case of limited partnership, certain limited partners relinquished. No, they gave up their privilege to manage the business. So in the case of a limited partner, he cannot manage the business because he has relinquished already that right or privilege to the general partners. Clear so far? So remember these two types of partnerships, a general partnership and then a limited partnership. Now, in the case of partnership also, because this is based on trust and confidence, no, by the death, no? So these are the ways by which a partnership is dissolved: by the death or resignation, resignation, say for instance, removal, for instance, of a partner, etc. The partnership would be dissolved. No? So wala na. Madi-dissolve na yung partnership if these are the reasons or grounds: death, resignation, removal, and all others, or commission of a crime, perhaps, no, because this type of or form of business organization is based on trust and confidence. So in case one died or one resigned or one was removed or one committed a crime, definitely the partnership is dissolved. Okay, so we move on to the corporation. Now the corporation is the biggest among the three forms of business organizations. Diba? Corporations. It's the biggest among the three corporations. But, of course, here, what did I say? How do we form a corporation? Of course, there should be at least 5 to 15, what we call the people signing the original document, which is the articles. We call them the incorporators. No? And all others, incorporators, all others joining the business after it has been incorporated, we call them as corporators. No? These are, say for instance, investors. No? Investors. I repeat, how many people do you need to form a corporation? You need at least 5, but not more than 15 people who will sign the articles of incorporation. Articles of incorporation. And the people who will be signing the articles of incorporation, say for instance there are 7 of them, for example lang, the people who will be signing the articles of incorporation will be called the incorporators. Here, and those people who will be joining the corporation because they want to invest in the corporation, we call them as corporators. Yan muna ang ano natin, no? And where do you register your corporation? You register it to the SEC, to the Securities and Exchange Commission. And when you register your company or your corporation, it's not only the articles of incorporation that you will file. This go hand in hand with the bylaws. Here, so when you register your company or your corporation, you bring along with you the articles of incorporation as well as the bylaws of the corporation, because the SEC will look for that. No? Now, as to the one of the advantages of a corporation is that when you put up a corporation, no? When you put up a corporation, because it is composed of many people, no? So the more people there are bringing their money or capital to the corporation, of course, there will be more cash to use, no? The more people who will be joining the company or corporation, of course, they will be putting in their investments in the form of cash or others. No, not only cash, but they may be contributing something else, no? So here, of course, because of the magnitude of, or the number of people that are composing the corporation, it will have more capital, more property, diba? More property to manage, and also bigger operations. Bigger operations. Clear so far? But what I've been telling you, when you put up your corporation, it's not only, no, this is based already on experience, it's not only the registration requirement, it's not only registration that you have to consider, registration. Where do you register sole proprietorship? In the DTI, no? Sole proprietorship. Where do you register a partnership? You register that in SEC. Where do you register a corporation? Also at SEC. This is only with respect to the registration of the name of your business entity. But that is not all. Before you could start your business, of course, aside from registration requirement, you also need to get your licensing, or you have to comply the licensing requirements. And where do you comply this? Well, in the APOTRADE LGU. No? LGU. No? So aside from complying with the registration requirements, you also need to procure your license with the LGU before you could put out your business. Okay? Clear so far? So those are the things that you ought to know about the forms of legal organization. So take this down as your assignment. Number 1, this is already assignment number 4. Number 1, explain, define the following. No? You have to explain, define the following. Letter A, obligation. Letter B, contract. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, explain the essential elements of, no? Remember, there are essential elements of A, obligation, B, a contract. No? So there are essential elements that we need to comply. And then number 3, explain the different characteristics of contracts. Number 3, explain the different characteristics of contracts. So we begin with a new topic next meeting or next week. And good afternoon, everyone.